Happy Friday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. Yay! Hooray! So, do want to point out that tonight is Friday, June 28th. This marks episode 324 of The Daily Dope. Tonight's show, I am going to be unboxing and taking a first look at Champions of HARA from my friends over at Greenbrier Games. This is a pretty hefty box here, so we are going to dig into this. It's kind of like a science fantasy game where each of the players represents an individual who's kind of from a different like dimension or reality or world or whatever you want to consider it, and they've all kind of been mashed together, so they need to save reality, basically, or all life on Earth or in the universe or whatever. So we're going to be taking a look at that in just a bit. Do want to point out this is a live stream, so if you are watching live, keep in mind there is chat available. It is not on screen. It's one of the ways that I kind of keep some of the stranger commenters at bay, but I do pay attention to the chat. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you have a question, or maybe there's something about Champions of HARA that you would like to get a closer look at, by all means, please chime in and I will respond. If you happen to like the video, please give it a quick thumbs up. If you check out some of the videos on the Gaming Gang channel and you like them, by all means, please subscribe. Don't forget to ring that little bell, because that not only will tell you when a new video is uploaded, it'll also tell you when the stream goes live, which within about 5 minutes or so. Of course, if you like thegaminggang.com, if you like the Gaming Gang channel, if you happen to like the Daily Dope, please tell a friend. In fact, please tell 2 friends. Spread the word, and so on and so on and so on. Do want to point out tonight's stream, once it's finished rendering and it's up on YouTube as one of the Gaming Gang videos, it will mark video number 600 on the channel. Yes, 600 videos on the channel. That's quite a lot of content. So what can I say? All right, so do want to point out, do have some news tonight. I did receive a few items in the mail today. I think it was pretty cool. First off, I got the D&D Essentials kit, which I was expecting. And if you have been watching the show recently, I've been talking about getting an unboxing of this, and I will discuss that in just a bit. I got a brand new copy of Dawn of the Zeds, which that was pretty cool. And I got the little expansion, kind of like booster packs for Dawn of the Zeds. So I will be shooting a standalone video to take a look at these expansion packs. I'm going to double check, take a peek at the Dawn of the Zeds 3rd edition video that I've got on the channel. I know it's from pretty far back, so maybe do a new fresh video for Dawn of the Zeds 3rd edition, designed by my good buddy Herman Lutman. So that was kind of cool. I was like, oh, and then I got my badge for San Diego Comic-Con, so that arrived, my press badge. So we're kind of ironing out some final details as far as our hotel. So we're actually going to be in San Diego this year. Usually we're out at, like, what do they call it? Mission Circle or Hotel Circle. But not this year. Actually, last year we were right off the ocean in San Diego, and that was pretty cool. But I guess we're even closer to the convention hall this year. I don't know. I did not handle the booking. That was my brother Greg happened to do that. So yeah, a lot cooking, a lot going on. So I do want to point out I've got some news tonight, so I'm going to jump on into the news. I know there are folks out there who do not like the Tabletop Gaming news segment. If you are one of those folks, please look in the show notes below, and that way you'll see there's the timestamp. You can skip right past the tabletop gaming, jump right on into the unboxing and first look of Champions of HARA if you'd like. If you are watching live, you're kind of going for a ride with me. Unless you want to go make a sandwich or go grab a drink, bum around for maybe 15 minutes or so and come back. It's completely up to you. But I'm going to jump on into the news here because a game that is coming in September, I do believe we will see some release of copies at Gen Con that really has me looking forward to checking this out. It has my interest peaked, that's for sure. Is War of the Worlds, the new wave, coming from Grey Fox Games. And here's the dope. War of the Worlds, the new wave, is a asymmetrical deck building game with a playing board for 2 players. The game events unfold several years after the original War of the Worlds story by H.G. Wells. The extraterrestrial invasion is occurring once again, but this time the Martians have arrived on a giant spaceship that lands in one of the backwater districts in Scotland. During the game, one player commands the alien forces and the other one leads the UK self-defense units. The main objective of the invaders is to completely annihilate the population of Great Britain, while the opposite side needs to deal enough damage to the Martian army. The game is played with 2 asymmetrical decks of cards, a playing board, tokens, and miniatures. War of the Worlds, the new wave, is for 2 players, ages 10 and up, plays in around 45 to 90 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $39.99 when it arrives on September 24th. As I mentioned before, I believe we may see some copies at Gen Con. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we get to see it there. There's also going to be the first expansion. It will also be releasing on September 24th and maybe at Gen Con. And it is the Irish Sea. The Irish Sea expansion extends the game's theater of operations to British Isles region. That didn't seem like correct grammar. The Irish Sea includes a new playing board with special land regions and also several additional cards for each side of conflict. Should be the conflict. What's going on here? What's with the sell sheet info not being correct? I don't believe this is a foreign language game that Grey Fox Games is publishing in English. Anyway, new components bring a much deeper strategic experience and multiple tactical possibilities to War of the Worlds, the new wave. This expansion makes the gameplay even more tense, and we strongly recommend playing the base version several times before adding this expansion's components. The Irish Sea will carry an MSRP of $14.99, as I mentioned, when it also arrives on September 24th. So this looks pretty cool. Looking at some of the cards, looking at some of the artwork, it looks as if it does utilize a lot of things that were going on in the H.G. Wells novel. Of course, granted, it's got a big mothership. We know that's not the case in the book. But poison gas, so that's kind of interesting. Though one thing that I think is kind of weird is the Irish Sea expansion is just showing a hospital ship. Should there be a tripod or something, kind of towering over it in the background or something? It just doesn't scream War of the Worlds to me. So I don't know. I just thought that was a little odd. But I am looking forward to checking this game out, and I do believe I will see review copies of the core game as well as the expansion. Like I said, fingers crossed. Moving along, I keep telling everybody, Arcane Wonders has a lot going on this fall, and they also have a title that's going to make its initial bow at Gen Con, and it's called Dragon Scales, and I've got a wee bit of dope about it. You've proven yourself a formidable villain, but are you ready to face the peerless might of a 3-headed dragon deep within its lair? Can you overcome his defenses and take all 3 of his heads as trophies? Will you only plunder his hoard and flee to safety? Or will another villain take the glory and the spoils that are rightfully yours? In Dragon Scales, 3 to 5 cunning villains will venture into the Great Dragon's lair, seeking to collect as much treasure and as many magical dragon scales as possible. Fight, steal, run, and maybe betray. only one villain can emerge the victor. Designed by Richard Lanius of Arkham Horror and Elder Sign fame, plus Run Fighter Die. That's another fun dice chucking game he did. Players take the role of villains that are bold enough to take on a mighty three-headed dragon. Doesn't that make it like a Hydra? No, Hydra would have 8 heads. Sorry. Okay. Three-headed dragon. Each villain will have their own unique deck of actions and tactics to use against their opponents. Each player will also roll dice each turn that are slotted on their board for different actions. As dice are slotted, benefits are awarded based on rolling more dice of a certain face. Dragon Scales is for 3 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around an hour, and will carry an MSRP of $59.99 when it premieres at Gen Con. If you are not going to Gen Con, then the game will arrive in stores on September 18th. This looks interesting, and Tony Galati from Arcane Wonders talked with me a little bit about Dragon Scales. I wish I had more images to share, but even the box cover, the only image I could find is kind of this like turned 3D box, which I love kind of sharing like a straight on look. But it does look like it's got quite a bit going on to this game, so could be pretty cool. So how about some role-playing game news? Because the team behind the hit French role-playing game Shadows of Estrin have a new 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons setting, which is up for crowdfunding, and I've got the dope on Fate Forge. Welcome to Iana, an entirely new campaign setting for your 5th edition adventures. Following the sword and sorcery tradition, the adventurers will travel through grandiose... Jeez, Jeff. Hell, can't even read grandiose? Blah. What can I tell you? Following the sword and sword tradition, the adventurers will travel through grandiose landscapes and interact with exotic, colorful civilizations, from the sprawling metropolis of the Free City to equatorial Acodal. Taking a guess on that pronunciation there. Their journey will be fraught with peril, and they will face many strange, fearsome opponents, be they the loathsome spawns of Canker, the demon princes from the moon Melancholia, or the formidable barbarian lords of the Kanai Hordes. I said hordes with a D. By dint of skill, bravery, or cunning, they will overcome increasingly challenging ordeals and perhaps find their way to the mythical Fate Forge and ascend to godhood. The Fate Forge Kickstarter is over 300% funded, and there is a short video about Fate Forge from Studio Agate, or I think it's Agate. I don't think it's Agate. I believe it's Agate. And let's take a peek. It's only a little more than a minute long.
Welcome to Iana, a brand new 5th edition campaign setting for your adventures, by the creative team behind Shadows of Estrin, the most awarded French role-playing game ever made. Following the sword and sorcery tradition, the adventurers will travel through grandiose landscapes and interact with exotic, colorful civilizations, from the sprawling metropolis of the Free City to equatorial Acodal. Their journey will be fraught with peril, and they will face many strange, fearsome opponents, be they the loathsome spawns of Canker, the demon princes from the moon Melancholia, or the formidable barbarian lords of the Kahani Hordes. By dint of skill, bravery, or cunning, they will overcome increasingly challenging ordeals, and perhaps find their way to the mythical Fate Forge and ascend to godhood.
As I mentioned, the Fate Forge Kickstarter is over 300% funded. You can reserve a copy of all the goodies in digital format, PDFs obviously enough, for a $25 pledge. Or you can score both the hardcover adventures and grimoire, plus PDFs of those and other stretch goals for a $75 pledge, and this runs through July 17th. Here's something very interesting. Expected delivery for the digital products is August, and the physical books this September. The physical books are actually going to release, as you saw in the video, at Gen Con. So the reality is, this is finished. This is all done. Studio 2 Publishing as well as Studio Agate are using Kickstarter essentially as order fulfillment. But the prices are pretty sweet, so I can't really complain about that. Do want to mention there's also a free player's guide that's available on DriveThruRPG. So you can check this out ahead of time. And I gotta admit, Fate Forge looks pretty cool. This looks pretty interesting. So, and Shadows of Estrin was pretty cool. And it was actually, I remember doing an interview with people who were behind Shadows of Estrin. I think there were only like 2 or 3 books at the time. And they were pretty cool. Elliot Miller, my best friend, back when he was part of the gaming gang, and I did an interview with the studio at Gen Con. It was really cool, really nice stuff. Their artwork is smashing too, and as you can see, there's some pretty cool artwork with this as well. All right, my final news piece. If you're a fan of the dark role-playing game Spire, then you'll be pleased to know the first full-length source book has arrived in PDF from Rowan, Rook, and Decard. Here's the dope. Strata is the first full-length source book for the Spire role-playing game. Written by Grant Howitt and Chris Taylor, and with 10 scenarios from a wide variety of other authors, Strata gives more details on the best and worst that the Sea of Spire has to offer. Included in the book are 2 new classes, the purple prose black magic pulp fiction occultist Inksmith, and the multifaceted and fractured Shadow Agent. Many new extra advantages for any class, such as the flower-skinned druid of the Living Spire, the muck-raking gazetteer, the sigil-scrawling children of the Rune Stack, and the language-hunting Lexicutioners. I've heard this is a really cool game. I just gotta point this out. I have to look at this one day. There are 10 scenarios, which I will get into detail in just a moment, allowing you to start a campaign of Spire easier than ever. There's more details on the richest and poorest parts of Spire, the shadowed and fecund Garden District, the decrepit grandeur of the Ivory Row, the nightmare industrial bowels of the Works, the alien luxury of Amaranth, and more. Beautiful, full-page, full-color artwork from Adrian Stone throughout the entire book. The scenarios are Better the Devil by Grant Howitt and Chris Taylor, Forge Unusual Alliances as House Starries of the Drow, Long Thought Fallen, returns to Spire to take control. Home is Where the Hatred Is by Helen Gould. Infiltrate and assassinate a wealthy Elfir household ruled by a cruel, undying matriarch. Biscuit by Zlamvier Nelson Jr. Oh, I know I got that first name wrong. Overthrow the government via the medium of arcane pasturies. Line in the Dirt by Pauline Chan. You and your cell are being evicted from your derelictus tenement. It's not much, but it's yours. Can you bring the other residents on side? Eye of the Beholder by Christine Beard. An Alfir artisan is surgically modifying drow to act as tormented masks, unless you break into her lavish auction and put a stop to it. The Fall of Glasshelm by Mary Hamilton and Kira McGran. Bring down the Glasshelm Corporation and put a stop to their dreams of bulldozing the Undercity to make way for new Alfir housing. The Forgotten by Lawrence Phillips. After the death of their protector, a group of vulnerable citizens must navigate the dangerous world of espionage after they're caught between the Ministry and the Solar Church. There's Iron Shrike by Ben Brock. In the depths of Derelictus, the Cell are tasked with eradicating a sacred market built in the worship of predatory capitalism. That just made me laugh. I don't know why. Predatory capitalism in your role-playing game. How do you kill a place? And there's these sulfurous presses by Coman Ford. Given a printing press and some rundown premises in the Works District, the cell must gain dominance over the newspaper market by publishing their own propaganda and sabotaging rival papers. That's straight out of history right there. Dark Harvest by Chris Farnell. After a mission goes wrong, the Ministry bundles the players off to the deep farms of Le Gras du Cord. But of course, nothing is what it seems in this idyllic pastoral village. Strutter requires a copy of the Spire RPG to use the rules and setting within to the best effect. This 242-page sourcebook is available right now in PDF for $20 on DriveThruRPG. As I mentioned, I heard really good things about the Spire. It is it's the Drow. The Spire is basically a Drow city. For some strange reason, I wanted to say that this is either kind of a powered by the apocalypse system or kind of based on Blades in the Dark. I'm not positive, though. I am not real positive. But I have heard, as I mentioned, some good things about Spire. So, definitely check that out. I did mention DriveThruRPG, and of course, thegaminggang.com as well as the Daily Dope are affiliates of the One Bookshelf sites. So, if you are going to swing over to DriveThruRPG, please visit thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners. We've got DriveThruRPG up top. We've got the Wargame Vault down at the bottom of the page. If you click on one of those banners, that way, if you are going to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And I'm serious, it's small. But I gotta be honest, it all really adds up. And I love everybody out there who use our banners because it keeps the website around. It really does. Because most months, all those nickels and dimes and that, they add up to actually take care of the hosting for thegaminggang.com. And I don't have cheapo hosting either. So that is it for the news. Got some stuff cooking as far as what's coming up on the show next week. It is a holiday shortened week next week as far as the Gaming Gang and the Daily Dope go. But I do want to point out, I had mentioned that if I got the D&D Essentials kit, that I would actually do an unboxing and take a first look at this on Monday's show. Now, of course, I had already kind of scheduled some stuff for next week in case this did not arrive. So what I am actually going to do, I'm going to actually film a standalone video, a standalone unboxing and first look video for the Essentials kit. So it is not going to be featured, at least the unboxing and first look, on the Daily Dope. It's going to be a separate standalone video. I'm probably going to shoot it tonight and after I'm done with the show. So that will probably be up tomorrow is my guess. Tomorrow or Sunday. So, on Monday's show, I am going to be reviewing Sorcerer from White Wizard Games. This is kind of a departure for White Wizard, who does Hero Realms and Star Realms and epic card game. Because not only is this cards, but there's more going on than just a card game. So we're going to play this a couple more times this weekend, and I am going to have my review of it on Monday's show. Then, on Tuesday's show, we're going to unbox and take a first look at Ruby, Combat Ready, from Rooster Teeth and Arcane Wonders. Obviously enough, it is based on the show, so I will be taking a first look at that. That's on Tuesday's show. Then on Wednesday, it's Wargame Wednesday. I will be reviewing Warfighter from Danverson Games. This is the modern edition. I've also got some expansions, some add-ons. We're going to take a peek at that. I'm going to do a little bit of a how to play and give you my thoughts on Warfighter Modern. So that's what's cooking on next week's show. Thursday is obviously 4th of July. I'm going to take the 4th of July off, and I will take Friday the 5th off as well. Unless something really spectacular or insane happens, then, I don't know, maybe I'll do a show. But for the most part, It's about 99% likely I will also take Friday the 5th off as well. All right, before I jump into my unboxing and first look at Champions of HARA, I do want to point out thegaminggang.com, thus the Daily Dope. It's pretty much a not-for-profit endeavor. So if you do like the website, if you do like the channel, if you like the show and other videos, by all means, please consider making a small donation to Lil Bub's Big Fund and the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. That's right, Lil Bub's Big Fund. Did I say little? It's Lil, L-I-L, Bub's Big Fund actually provides grant monies to organizations around the United States who care for special needs animals who are awaiting adoption. These are not kill shelters or anything like that. They are organizations who care for animals that might be just a little bit older, or maybe they've got mobility issues. Maybe they require medication daily. Maybe they have more serious issues. Maybe they're blind or deaf. Any special needs animal is actually covered under Lil Bub's Big Fund. So, do want to point out Lil Bub herself is a special needs animal and just celebrated her 8th birthday last week, which is about 7.5 years longer that she's been on the planet than most people expected. So, do point out I love animals, and of course, if you do make a small donation to Lil Bub's Big Fund, be sure to shoot me an email. My email address is right there in the corner. It's jeffmcaleer@thegaminggang.com, and I will give you a quick shout out on the following show if you would like. So you don't have to like send me receipts or screenshots or anything like that. I don't need you to like prove that you made a donation. Just let me know and I will do that. All right, so I'm sure folks are going to be tuning in to check out Champions of HARA, which is from Greenbrier Games. It's designed by Walter Barber, Ian Van Nest, and Andrew Zimmerman, with artwork and graphic design provided by Stephen Gibson, Hannah Kennedy, and Jason Piperberg. The game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up. Plays in around 30 minutes to 2 hours. I think it depends on what scenario you're playing. I think there's different ways for you to play. Not positive. We are going to take a peek. It is available right now. It does carry an MSRP of $69.95. I will point out that I have seen it online through some retailers online for as low as $50. So if that's important to you, don't get all upset and send me emails about how dare I talk about buying things online and not going to your friendly local game store. I'm not telling you that. I'm not telling you to go buy online. I'm just saying if it's important that you save that extra $20, you may want to take a look at some online retailers. That's all. All right, so let's switch on over to the other camera here because this is a good sized box. As you can see, it's pretty thick. And, you know, I don't have massive hands, but this is a pretty good sized box here. And it's got some serious heft to it. So I can tell this weighs, I'm guessing, probably about 5 pounds. So I am going to take the shrink wrap off. Because, yes, when I do an unboxing, I do a real unboxing. And I'm going to read just a little bit of what we've got on the back of the box here. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But it says, Champions of HARA is an adventure board game in which 1 to 4 players race to protect a dying world. Players will contain destructive energy by defeating monsters, closing rifts, and exploring these 6 different worlds within HARA. In order to rise to the challenge, players will need to unlock new abilities and collect powerful items. Each session takes approximately 30 minutes per player. There you go. In versus mode, players will compete against one another in arena-style combat. The winner is offered a powerful blessing by HARA's stewards, a single wish to shape the future. However, wishes are no simple matter. In co-op mode, players will work together to overcome the fallout from the champion's wish, facing off against corrupted foes and solving scenario-based challenges. So, quite a bit cooking in this. So let's get this puppy open here. Alright, come on. Pretty cool artwork, I have to point out. So we've got a rule book. We've got a pretty cool insert here. As we can tell, we got a bunch of stuff underneath. Looks like a lot of punch boards with various different like tiles and stuff. So, all right, let's move this off to the side here, and let's take a look at the rules. I guess we can zoom in a touch. So we've got, looking at the components, we've got 6 character miniatures, we've got 3 corrupted creature miniatures. It's a bit of an introduction. It says Champions of HARA is an episodic? No, I think it's episodic. Episodic adventure board game in which 1 to 4 players race to protect a dying paradise. So we've got the setup. So effectively, what supposedly has happened, as far as I remember from my discussions with my friend Julie Ahern from Greenbrier Games, that it's supposed to be these 6 different worlds have somehow kind of just smashed together. So you're trying to save these realities, these worlds. So, and each of the characters comes from one of these settings. So it's kind of cool that it's for up to 4 players. So you've actually got a little bit of like a little overflow as far as the number of characters that you can select from. Because a lot of times you'll have a game like this where, let's say it's for 4 players. Well, then you'll have 4 different characters. And it's sort of like, well, if you got 4 players and somebody doesn't want to play a particular character, well, then you're kind of stuck. At least here we've got 2 extra characters to choose from. Speaking of choosing characters, so we got choosing characters there. Talking about player space, player boards, gaining energy, leveling up, turn order cards. It says at the start of the game, regardless of whether you're playing versus arena or a scenario, the most colorfully dressed player takes turn order card number 1. Roll a die if you can't decide. That's kind of funny. So we've got world decks, monster cards, event cards. Talking about the game flow, ability cards. So life cycle of a card. So it looks like you rotate your card around as far as showing that that you've used it. Looks like some of these cards do not have. They're not going to stay out on the table. It looks like you use their ability and they go back to your hand. So we're talking about damage, more monsters. Okay. Closing rifts. Talking about the events. Looks like the cards are hexagonal shaped. Unless these are just tiles. We'll find out. Different items. There's a lot going on in this game. A little more to it than I was expecting. So we've got winning the game in versus or in scenario play. Talking about the corrupted. Talking about the champions. We've got our scenarios. So, oh, look. So, okay. So each of the characters has a set of scenarios that you can play. And then it'll tell you recommended number of players. That's kind of cool. So we've got some solitaire play as well. Because, as I mentioned, it's for 1 to 4 players. So we've got these. That's interesting that each of the players actually has, or I should say each of the characters has a variety of scenarios for them. And then we got a little ad for Barbarian Battlegrounds. I know Julie told me there's a new standalone Barbarian, and remember it's Barbarian Battlegrounds that's coming out. Yeah, that's kind of a funny game. It's kind of I don't want to say it's a cute game because there's a lot of take that in it, but yeah, it's a pretty interesting game, pretty cool. Right, so that's the rules. Then we've got the insert that's got some miniatures here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to zoom in so we can get a closer look at these minis. So first we're going to take a look at the character miniatures. All right, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually take them out and kind of show them off against this black background here. So we got the first character here who has a bear with them. So detail looks pretty nice. Looks pretty good on these, and they are pre-assembled. As you can see, there's little gaps here where these have been put together. So that's kind of cool. So the kid is kind of pointing the bear, like, okay, go get that guy, go kill that. So that is that first character. All right, then we've got another character. Oh, boo, boo, hiss, boo. It's that soft plastic. Although that doesn't look too bad as far as straightening this staff out. That looks okay. A lot of times with the really soft plastic, you have to put parts of it in boiling water so you can straighten out the plastic. So this looks kind of bizarre. So it looks almost like this character's wearing a kilt. Like I said, really nice detail. I like the detail on these. Okay, so we've got that. Then we've got almost like a Han Solo looking character here. Looks like they're wearing a gun, or maybe their hand is a gun. So actually, yeah, looks like they're wearing some other kind of gauntlet here too. No joke, it's kind of like Han Solo. He's got a little stripe down the side of the trousers. So that's kind of cool. And it looks like he's wearing a vest too. So that's kind of wild. Okay, then we've got looks like a female character with really long hair, and it looks as if she's casting like fireballs, or like fireballs are coming out of her hand. It's pretty nice. Digging that. So we've got that character. Then we've got another guy. Almost looks like he's a tree guy. I am Groot. So as you can see, we've got looks like kind of like knots, and then almost like these like leaves and foliage are like his hat. Kind of tell that. And this character's name is Leaf. In fact, it tells us the character name on the bottom. This one is Soph. This is Han Solo. No, I'm kidding. It's Thomas Evening. And this is Auric. This is Karu and Kuma. That bear looks almost like the bear is like mechanical. Sweet. Okay, and then we've got the last one, which I thought this looks kind of cool. It's so it's a little girl and almost like a ghost kind of creature with her. I like that. That looks really cool. I like that a lot. So I'm sure it's not a ghost. I'm sure it's some sort of creature, but I think it's kind of cool how we've got a couple of like kids with their own like sidekicks. Then we've got the adults just by themselves. All right, so we've got that. Now we've got some of these corrupted, and these are much bigger miniatures. So these are like major villains, I guess. These are like the big bads. So here, this must be like a giantess with this big sword. I like the sculpts. Sculpts are cool. So there we go. That's that. Then we've got some sort of weird like creature almost. Oh, it's a guy with looks like these appendages are like coming out of his back. That's pretty wild. Almost like the Iron Spider suit for Spider-Man, except these are pretty wild. So that's pretty cool. All right, so that's that. How in the world did it go in there? There we go. What the hell? How did I pull this thing out? There we go. Finally. Alright, then this is the last one. This is almost like a mushroom. Almost like a mushroom kind of character. See how it's almost like the mushroom cap as a cap. That's pretty wild. Nice. That is pretty wild. And then kind of compare the size of the miniatures here. Kind of give you an idea. As I mentioned, these corrupted are way bigger than the heroes, the characters. All right, so then we've got those miniatures. Now let's take a look at some of these, and I'll zoom back out. We're going to take a look at some of these punch boards, see what we've got. So we've got, basically, it looks as if each of the, zoom a little further out here, each of the realms that these characters are from are going to have basically 6 hexes devoted to them, and then you kind of connect them together, I believe. So then we've got some tokens. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got some rings. I wonder if these rings down here, maybe these are used on your player board. Kind of track. Probably have some sort of track on those player boards, maybe. I have no idea what that is. It's just kind of a square with 1, 2, 3, 4 in the corners. Flip this over, and there we have, it's double-sided. Tell you what, this has like way more pop visually on this side than it does on this side. So I wonder if this is like the more muted color is before you've saved it. Maybe that's possibly it. So we've got the Arechi Wastes. And we've got the Dojo, which I'll take a guess is probably where the Versus Arena is. Wow, that's cool artwork. I like that art. It really pops, especially compared to what this side looks like. Then we got some more, looks like we got some more tokens in that, some more rings. Then we got Luna Ridge. Yes, and Pinky has come downstairs. Yes, Pinky. Yes, enough. Quiet. Always has to come. She's down here like almost every night now. And it's always kind of about the same time. Getting close to, to the end of the show. She decides, hey, I got to come down and make sure everybody knows I'm here. So we got Luna Ridge. We've got Oakenmoor, which I'll take a guess is probably where Leaf is from. So it's kind of like forested in that. Then we have Oppenheim, or Oppenheim. What, Oppenheimer? So the Oppenheimer group? It's where you go to invest. There you go. So this looks like kind of like a modern industrial kind of location. And then we have the Bayou. Just like so. Maybe this is where the Leaf is from. So we got that. We have the Dreer. Like so. Okay, so we've got all of these punch boards. So we got all of that. Now we've got player boards. Oh, I guess this is, you will not be using discs because these are a little cutout. So we must have cubes that are going to track these. So we've got 4 of those, so 1 for each player. So we've got that. We've got some decks of hexagonal cards. There we go. We've got 6-sided die. We've got some cubes in various colors. We've got a little purple pawn. So we got the 6-sided die here. And then we've got a custom die. Take this out, and it looks like it's laser printed on here, and might as well zoom in because we're going to be looking at some cards in a second too. So we see we've got these different icons on this 6-sided die. I'm taking a guess each of these icons represents one of the realms, one of the worlds. That's why they're kind of color coded. So we've got that. These cubes, I'm assuming we're using the cubes to track like the red, blue, green, the white. Probably using that to track on these boards. Give you a little closer look at the board here, the player boards. So we got blue, red, green. Looks like health. Maybe this is health. And then maybe that's energy right there. So we got those. All right, so I'm going to put all these back in here. Okay, what else we got here? We got another set of hexagonal cards. We've got a couple of decks of regular cards, regular size cards. We've got that. And we've also got some large size cards for the corrupted. So let's take a look at these first. So we got Inaki, Ashura, Ophion, and don't know. I'm not sure what this card represents. Maybe that's your wish going bad. So we've got here we go. So we've got for tracking the big bads, the corrupted. So it's showing us which miniature we use, some artwork as well. Looks like some special abilities that it's got. Bleak Ultimatum, Shatter Will, Sleepwalk. Telling us like the health. No doubt these are kind of like power icons of some sort. Then we got Ashura. And then we've got Inaki. This is the one that's kind of like the mushroom. So, Corrupted by Devotion. Whirling Axes, Spore Mind Prophecy, and Cullen Harvest. Woohoo! So it looks like, looks like this one might be the toughest of the bunch. Cool. I like these cards. Very nice. So we got those big cards there, as well as this one that I have absolutely no idea what it's supposed to represent. So we've got that. Put that back in the box here. So let's take a look at these hexagonal cards. And I'm not going to look at every single card. I'm just going to look at a few of them. So we've got a couple of decks of these. So let's see. We've got Dusk. So these are creatures. These are like monsters you're to fight. Leviathan of Huracan. Drew down the Cursed. Dusk Kirin. Oh, that might actually be something that helps you. I don't know. Same thing. Same thing again. A Wayward Warrior. Forest Ronin. Skybrarian. That's kind of wild. Dawn Kirin. Another one of those. And another one of those. Let's see what this other shows here for Dusk. I don't know if we're supposed to take both of these and mix them together, because maybe these are events. It's possible. And it's possible it's just they divided these two decks up just because they wanted to make sure that like the creatures were in one deck and then the events are in the other deck. Find out in a sec. Minor Gold Rift. Another Minor Gold Rift. Major Red Rift. Major Blue Rifts. Well, these are rifts at least we can see. Got a Major Green Rift. Minor Red Rift. Are these just all rifts? Let's find out. So far, that's what they look like. Oh, no. Okay, Herald of the Worm is an ally. So there, I can tell you right now, there's more of these. It looks like there's more cards in this other deck, which are kind of like events and stuff. Though that's a creature there. Than the other one. You got to be putting these decks together. So here's another ally. Herald of the Worm, Herald of the Stag, Herald of the Serpent. So that's kind of sweet. So here we have Oppenheim Monster. These are more almost like baboon creatures here, or ape-like creatures. Kind of weird how it says monster. I guess you're always gonna end up into like when you're Oppenheim, it's always monsters. Then we see world shift, street politics, music of the bayou. Okay, so these are kind of events that looks like will move you to a different area. Man, there's a bunch of stuff going on here. So we got Oppenheim monster. Now we got Dreer event. So it's showing events here. Darkness is your ally. The Dream Vault. Bubbling Beaker. So maybe the different worlds work like some have events, some have monsters. Because why would you be saying, okay, right off the bat, this is an event? See, like Luna Ridge has events. The Bayou has events. No artwork on the events. Just text, which is okay. The creatures and the allies and the monsters and stuff they've got art. Okay, so here's Oppenheim event. So maybe you'll have these separate, because it would be kind of stupid to sit there and shuffle them together, because you'll know exactly what it is. We got monsters and events. All right, so we've got quite a few of these. So I will put these back together. So, as I mentioned, we've got quite a few of these hexagonal cards, and they're a good size. These hexagonal cards are a pretty good size here. Because you can see, like I said before, I don't have monster hands, but I don't have little tiny hands either. So we've got those. I'm going to put those back in their baggies. And then, of course, I'm sure you'll separate these apart. This has my interest peaked, though. It really does, because I wasn't expecting all this stuff in Champions of HARA. I was expecting more of, just being kind of a battle game, not necessarily a lot of narrative to the game. But it seems like there's a lot of story to it. Okay, and then we've got these other decks of cards here, so I'm going to open these up. There we go. I was like, hey, where's my hobby knife? And I think a lot of these are going to be kind of like the character skills and stuff like that. The character decks themselves. Okay, so let's take a peek, see what we've got here. So these are just numbers. Let's say these are items. I'll just have numbers on that side, and then so then we've got images. So we got dreamstones. Looks like a book, an amulet, Bix Kicks. So there we go, black ink, chromatic converter. So I'm taking a stab that some of the stuff will tell you, okay, we'll get item number whatever. You earn item number whatever, because here we got these numbers here. So these show the items. I've also got more items on this deck too. Okay, here's Soph, so that's that character. Ulrich. Thomas, Leaf, Keiru, and Kuma. So I'm taking a guess we probably have more soft cards here, because I was going to say that's a pretty damn small deck for soft. Well, looks like we got quite a few different specific cards for the characters. Silence the Storm. Cute as my boss. Okay. There we go. More cards. Well, okay, so these start locked. So I guess you kind of probably have to like level up or be able to, earn points that you can unlock some of these other special abilities. Let's take a look here. So, kind of wild. Kind of wild. Okay, so I'm not going to look through all of these because they're really no art. It's not artwork. It's just saying, okay, galvanic palette, art of war, die, backflip, cloud surf, vault. So each of the characters will have their own deck, and then of course we've got the different items, and then we got all these kind of unusual like cards that go with specific characters. Kind of get you set up for these characters here. So like we got Auric, that's Auric, and then we've got something where you're going to indicate the stance, Crane, Tiger, Koi. Then you got Leaf. There's Leaf. There's some sort of a tracking card here, which is probably what you use those discs for. So I'm taking a guess that some of the characters are probably a bit asymmetrical as far as how they approach things. Okay, so I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. So we've got the hexagonal cards for the different worlds. We've got the dice as well as the cubes and the little pawn. Got a couple of decks of cards which are made up of a bunch of different decks of cards. We've got the character boards. Yep. I was hoping they would fit in a little differently. We've got all these punch boards of the various hexagonal worlds and informational tokens as well. As you can see, the insert is made so you separate the decks. So we've got some area for the different decks to go once we've got those separated, broken up. We've got the 6 character miniatures, we've got the 3 corrupted miniatures, and then we've got the rule book. And that is what we find when we take everything from Champions of HARA outside the box. So, of course, I will have a review of Champions of HARA in the very near future. As I pointed out before, Champions of HARA is from Greenbrier Games. It is available now. It is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, and plays in about 30 minutes per player. It does carry an MSRP of $69.95. All right, so there you have it. That's tonight's show. Pretty quiet tonight. I figured it would be, seeing that it's Friday night. There's not usually a lot going on as far as people popping into chat. I do see there are a few people watching live, so I very, very much appreciate you tuning in to keep me company. Just jump into chat. I don't bite. Usually everybody in chat's pretty friendly too. So anyway, as I mentioned on Monday's show, I will be reviewing Sorcerer from White Wizard Games. So that will be coming up on Monday's show. As I like to point out, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, please visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. By now you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Enjoy your Friday night. I will be back next month. Yes, July 1st. So until then, all the best and thanks for watching. Thanks again for watching The Daily Dope, presented by The Gaming Gang. If you like this episode, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to check out our previous episode, click right here. And if you want to check out a somewhat randomly selected episode, give a click right down here. It'll be like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You just don't know what you'll get. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'm Jeff McAleer.